Thank you, ma'am. Next, I will request.
Brain and the mind together. As rightly said, brain is an extremely complicated organ. And what about the mind? As Dr. Krishnamurti said, we do not even know the location of the mind. Indian philosophy calls the mind an antakarana, meaning it's an inner instrument. And it is this mind which has made each one of us a human being. A Manushyan is because he has a man. The English word human being is supposed to have derived from the Greek Latin root homo. However, if you trace the root of the word homo itself, it's supposed to be from the old Norse word hugman. And it is said, hugman, the man part of hugman is related to the mind. So ultimately, it's all one cycle where you find the human being is a manifestation of what the mind is or what the mind thinks. And that is what I believe Dr. Krishnamurti referred to by saying the mind applies the software to the human brain. Putting the brain and the mind together, two complexities together, two complexities of which we have no complete knowledge. The only human being until now who was supposed to have used 2% of his brain was Albert Einstein, meaning the rest of us do not even use 2% of our brains. And combining all this with ancient wisdom, rehabilitation, please accept my congratulations, Dr. Krishnamurti, for thinking of a one-roof solution for multiple problems. Dr. Krishnamurti was referring to the post-COVID situation. I think the post-COVID situation requires not mere rehabilitation from the treatment point of view, but then a social rehabilitation too. One of the key issues of long COVID is a brain fog. The simplest complication of long COVID is the brain fog, and who requires rehabilitation when someone is diagnosed with brain fog. Let's imagine a situation, somebody comes with a brain fog. Let's imagine, hypothetically, it's one of our own assistants at the office. At the office, the boss is tired, the boss is disgusted because he or she is not able to relegate responsibility to this individual who was perfectly normal pre-COVID, but then post-COVID has become a dunce. And the boss will not be unjustified if he or she decides to fire that person. But then look at it from the other perspective. What happens to that individual? And that is where rehabilitation, mainly not from the treatment perspective, but then rehabilitation from the social perspective becomes important. I'm touching about post-COVID not because it's recent or because it's topical. Given the situation, the sequelae of the pandemic, Though we today think the pandemic is gone and most of us have forgotten our masks, but the sequelae of the pandemic, the real sequelae of the pandemic is likely to remain at least for the next 3 to 4 decades. And that is when this rehabilitation will become extremely important. More and more of neuropsychiatric issues and rehabilitation to those people who come with these issues. Standing here today, I am reminded of a small book by the renowned Tamil writer Jayakanta. I would just say the title of the book. The title of the book read Silar Ulle Irukiraர்கள். And the book was on inmates of the so-called mental asylum. He just said Silar Ulle Irukiraர்கள். The implication is பலர் வெளியே இருக்கிறார்கள். And it is not for the mental disorder part of it. It is for any neuropsychiatric ailment. It is for any neuropsychiatric ailment, and I think that is where a one-roof solution like the Buddhi clinic becomes important. Buddhi is again a term which Indian philosophy refers to very often. Lord Yama talks to Nachiketas, saying it should be your Buddhi which should ride your chariot of life. Nachiketa, please remember your chariot should be your Buddhi. And rest of Indian philosophy talks about Buddhi as that instrument which presides over the mind itself. Buddhi dictates the mind. And I think that's what Buddhi clinic also means. Buddhi clinic will dictate the brain and the mind and put them on the right path. Yet another area which I think Dr. Krishnamurti has been immensely contributing to is the kind of research and the kind of publications which come from this institution.
The Polo hospitals, when we started, it was all about treating what we felt were centers of excellence. And in that journey, we worked at looking after cardiac patients, the end-to-end care from prevention to looking after them during an intervention and rehabilitation. We've done so for orthopedics, and we really reached the peak when we did so in oncology. But when it came to neurology, and this was something that I was extremely passionate about, we understood there were 27 subspecialties in the neuro space. And when I look at what Dr. Krishnamurti has done today, I realize that for many of them, we were just throwing darts in the darkness. There was so much that we did not understand. The brain continues to be an enigma. And I think that scientists all over the world have said it is probably the most complex organ or organism, a collection of organisms that has ever existed today. Maybe just as complex as the universe. So, and even an attempt to understand this is indeed a great achievement. And I would truly like to congratulate Dr. Krishnamurti for bringing together technology, the human touch, and the ancient wisdom of Ayurveda in this healing journey. So, congratulations, Dr. Krishnamurti. There's so much more I could say about this Buddhi clinic, but he said it all in his speech. He said more in his AV, so I'm not going to dwell too much about Buddhi clinic. But I would like to talk about the background as we see it today, the environment as we see it today. Neurodisability is one of the largest causes of disability in the world, and it strikes at a very young population from the age of 15 to 25, and that's really when it peaks. A 2019 study showed that 80% of all disabilities in this age of 16 to 60 was neurodisability. And this could mean about 250 million patients across the world. So I'm not looking at this as a market, but I'm really looking at it in terms of what is the social impact, what is the healing impact that we could make together. You know, Dr. Krishnamurti has done this wonderfully, and I've seen a demonstration of how he's taken it beyond the confines of four walls into homes. And together, I believe that we have an opportunity to do something that's good not only for society but for humankind. And we do so in two ways. One is, you know, as being from the medical profession, we've always looked at as the brain as something you treat for blood clots, for strokes, as part of the testing for high blood pressure, or for cancer where you treat tumors. But now we are really looking at what we can do for preventive healthcare. And to that end, we launched this program, Celebrate, at Apollo. I'm so glad to say that we have joined hands and that we will take this further so that we can prevent people from really reaching a point where they, you know, where they become disabled, where they become a liability on their families. And when we've done that, I think, you know, we would have reached a significant milestone. And we can only do this in partnership. I truly believe that the essence of this partnership is bringing our skills together. We as a healthcare organization using scientific data, enabling access to those who have problems with neurodisabilities, to prevent people from really reaching that point where their dependence on others has become so high or where they're isolated from the social environment. And this is just the beginning of our journey. As human beings, you know, I think we are insignificant. As individuals, we are really insignificant when we think of the complex universe around us. We are just inhabitants of the planet Earth in the country India, in the city of Madras. Descartes once said, I think, therefore I am. I think that together we can do so much more, that we can create health and happiness not just for us, not just for this decade, but in generations to come, because a happy and healthy generation of people will provide that for the next and the future generations. So I wish you success, and I wish us success in this journey of creating health and happiness to all of you.